How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Sector 6, and today we're going to be talking about something that's kind of disappeared and fallen off the radar a little bit. Today we're going to be talking about Ever Crisis and asking the question, where is it? Like, what's happened? Where's it gone? Is it okay? So yeah, over the course of the year we've seen bits and pieces of Ever Crisis, we've seen some gameplay footage, we've seen some of the customization options that are available, being able to switch like your character's outfits and things like that. And for those of you that don't know what Ever Crisis is a mobile game that's being developed by Square Enix in conjunction with CyberAgent and one of their subsidiaries, who seem to work on mobile games quite a bit. And it's a game that's going to cover the entirety of the Final Fantasy VII compilation in a chapter-style kind of game on mobile, so you're going to get chapters every so often and you're going to be able to go through certain pieces of the Final Fantasy VII story. From what we've seen trailer-wise so far, it looks like we're going to get the early stages of Crisis Core and the early stages of the original Final Fantasy VII. That's what most of the trailer footage has been, if not all of it, now that I think about it. Yeah, possibly all of it. So it would make sense that those two sections are the first chapters that we're going to get. And earlier on in the year, around June, I believe it was, the Final Fantasy account tweeted that there would be a closed beta coming in 2022, later on in 2022. And yeah, we're getting pretty late in 2022 now. You know, we're pretty deep into 2022. I think the 23rd of November classes as deep into the year. It's going to be December if it's going to be 2022. That's what it's looking like right now, which kind of flies in the face of what we already knew, or at least what we thought we already knew. So earlier on in the year, CyberAgent released like a financial report kind of thing, and in that financial report, we see that games that they were expecting to come out later on in the year, included in that list was Ever Crisis, and they seem to be shooting for a September release date. That's what the image that I'm going to pop up on screen now, or I've already had it up on screen, that's what that image suggests, that it's going to be September 2022. But September came and went, and we've literally heard nothing. Like, I'm struggling to remember when the last actual piece of Ever Crisis news was. I'm pretty sure it was in June, when we were told that there was a beta coming. So we've kind of blown past this September estimated release, which is what CyberAgent seem to have been shooting for. And now we're right into the very end of 2022. You know, we're practically in December. We've got Crisis Core Reunion on the horizon as well, which could play into it. We'll talk about this in a second. But yeah, the time's running out for Ever Crisis to make this 2022 beta self-imposed deadline. Or it's not really a deadline, but you know, the window that they were shooting for. So at this point, I suppose we ask what's going on. Like, where is it? What's occurred? Is it okay? Is everything okay? And we've already asked this once, is everything okay? And I'm going to say probably. I'm going to say it's probably just a delay, you know, just a standard delay. And it's a bit weird that we've not heard anything about it, you know, right, this game's been pushed back, it'll probably be in 2023 now that you see it. That'd be fair enough, but yeah, the radio silence on it, coupled with the fact that the first soldier seems to have died a pretty monumental death, with Square Enix announcing that the first soldier is going to be discontinued in the next few months. Could that have had a knock-on impact on Ever Crisis? Potentially. Because you've got to think about it, with this game being modular in the way that it's going to be delivered, you know, chapter-based, the work isn't all going to be done on the front end. Like with the first soldier, a lot of the work was done on the front end. Because, you know, you've got to build the system, you've got to build the mechanics, you've got to put all the functionality into the game and things like that. The area didn't really change. Do you know what I mean? A lot of the core functionality of the first soldier didn't change from day one. Whereas with a game like Ever Crisis, that core functionality is going to be consistently expanding, not only as we add more and more chapters to the game and get more and more content in there, but there are other games in the franchise that we're going to be looking at as well, like Dirge of Cerberus and things like that. Are they going to have a slightly different mechanic? Because if you played Dirge of Cerberus, you know that it is completely different to the other Final Fantasy VII compilation games. It's essentially a shooter. What's going to be the deal with that? Is it going to be kind of played out in the same manner as Final Fantasy VII and Crisis Core are going to be done in Ever Crisis, or is it going to get its own separate thing? So that then begs the question, there's a lot of work to be done on Ever Crisis once it releases. And given that the first soldier has flopped quite hard, have Square Enix kind of decided, you know what? Maybe we don't do this because it's going to be an ongoing project for X amount of time. I personally don't think that's going to be the case. It's a possibility, but I don't think that's going to be the case, because even though there is still a lot of work that they'll have to do ongoing on the game, they'll have still got a lot of the stuff done in the front end of this project, and it would be a lot of work to just essentially flush down the toilet if you were going to cut the game now. So I don't think it's been cancelled because of the first soldier. I think one possibility, though, is that they've decided to hold off on Ever Crisis until after Crisis Core Reunion, because, you know, Crisis Core Reunion's going to take a lot of the company's focus as far as marketing goes. If, like it seems, the plan was that Crisis Core was going to be one of the first chapters that we get in Ever Crisis, that might clash with Crisis Core Reunion coming. So it kind of makes sense that they may want to push the game into 2023. It's just a little bit weird that we've not heard anything, if I'm being honest. Now, granted, there's a lot of people that have got misgivings about the game, about the gacha elements that are clearly going to be involved in the game, and it remains to be seen how that's going to pan out. I'm going to check the game out when it drops, if it drops. It'll drop, I'm sure it'll drop. But yeah, I'm going to check it out when it does, and I'm going to give it a chance and see what it's like, and as long as the gacha isn't overly oppressive, I don't think it'll be too much of a problem, but time will tell. But yeah, what do you think's going on with Crisis? But yeah, what do you think's going on with Ever Crisis? Do you think that the game's maybe been canned? Do you think it's just a delay, you know, just a standard delay and we'll see it in 2023? What do you think's going on? And are you looking forward to Ever Crisis? That's another question that I want to ask. What are people thinking about Ever Crisis? Are you going to try it out? Are you going to give it a go? Let me know in the comments below. But that's going to be enough for this video. It was just a quick one, just thinking about Ever Crisis. I've got a couple more coming up in the next couple of days, so keep an eye out for them. Looking at Crisis Core Reunion and Final Fantasy 16. So don't forget to drop a like on this video and subscribe so that you don't miss the future videos. But more importantly than all of that, let me know what you think in the comments below, and have a great day.